Good morning and welcome to 1 Million Cups. It is same bad time, same bad channel every Wednesday at 9 a.m. So welcome if you're joining us in the meeting itself. If you are not, you can always go to 1millioncups.com/Fairfax and join us via Zoom. So thank you again for joining us today. Welcome to all of our guests. We would love for each of you to share the content on Facebook, spread the word, but we have lots of folks that are happy and engaged, as you can see every week. So thanks again for joining us. If you are new to 1 Million Cups, please check in on the 1 Million Cups app. When you join the app, you also will get our weekly email that just says which amazing business is presenting that week. If you have any issues with the app, just let us know. 1 Million Cups is based on 3 core areas: entrepreneurship, community, and education. When we think about 1 Million Cups, the mission is really about lowering barriers to entry. So we have business owners who have simply an idea all the way through 3, 4, or 5 years they've been around, and they're maybe pivoting. They want to come here and get feedback. And so we're here to support them as a community every single week. This is all about presentations. And although I'm sure we would love to be millionaires, it's not about pitches. We're not making investments. We are here every week to answer one challenge question for a business owner, and we're here to network and get to know each other. So this is all about being led by the community for the business community itself. Our culture, we are intended to be safe and supportive. So when we ask questions of our presenter or give feedback, let's keep it constructive. This is all volunteer, so none of us are paid to do this. We show up here live on Facebook and via Zoom every Wednesday. It is all about inclusivity, so we want to invite as many people and spread the word as much as possible. There are a lot of ways you can join us. As I said, you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, etc., etc. Please do drop your name and share your information in chat. We love to get to our new community. As I said, if you sign up via the app, you'll get our weekly email, and follow us on these different channels. We'd love for you to engage. We are always looking for presenters, and this is a great way to spread the word and make sure more and more business owners know about it. These are our organizers. So welcome to our newest organizer, Leslie or Killian. Very nice to have you join us. If you want to introduce yourself quickly, and then we'll move on to the brand ambassadors. No pressure, put you on the spot.
Sorry. I was getting Mario Kart set up for my 3-year-old, which you will hear in the background. Hi, my name is Leslie. I am the owner of Rooted in Beauty Photography. I'm a mom-focused photographer based out of Alexandria, Virginia, serving most of the DMV and Northern Virginia. Hello.
Awesome. Mario Kart. Very important strategy for child management. I concur. Welcome. We're excited to have you. Leslie is a past presenter as well. Just because you present does not mean you automatically become an organizer, but we always love it when that happens. So thanks for joining us. For our ambassadors, Dan Linder, do you want to say hi and kick us off? And you may have stepped away. So John Foster, I'm going to have you go, and then we'll come back to Dan.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. As I always say, it is a wonderful way to hit the middle of the week here at the 1 Million Cups meeting. Always look forward to it. It's a great way to, again, hit the middle of the week and do some good things for people. So enjoy being here. Thanks, everybody.
John gets us national representation since he's on the West Coast. So our group is small but mighty. We have a national footprint, which is very exciting. And let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So for our sponsors, it would be great, John, if you could kick us off, and then I'll hand it back over. Or if you can hand it back over to John Foster, that would be great.
Sure, thanks, Jen. So every week we highlight 2 sponsors. So one is a space sponsor and the other one is a coffee sponsor. So as an owner of Office Evolution, I can tell you a little bit about our space. We're located in Tyson's Corner. We're a co-working space. We provide fully furnished private offices as well as a number of flexible virtual options for small business owners. We've been providing space for us before the pandemic, right up until I guess the pandemic started. We are actually looking for a new space as when we get together, but we love partnership with 1MillionCups and all the small business in our communities. With that, let me hand it over to John Foster, who can talk about Fairfax Veggie Fest.
Great. Thanks so much, John. Yeah, I'm John Foster. I'm the ambassador for Green Fair Health and Wellness, as well as Green Fair Organic Cafe in Herndon, Virginia. We are a 100% plant-based organic cafe in Herndon, Virginia. And we are sponsoring the Fairfax Veg Fest on April 24th. That is this Sunday from 10 to 5. It is a family-friendly event. We've got 80 vendors at the Veg Fest. So we'll have food, we've got bands, we've got activities and things to do for families. So just encourage everybody to come on out to the Fairfax Veg Fest. And it is wonderful being a coffee sponsor. Sometimes stop in for a cup of organic coffee at Green Fair Organic Cafe in Herndon. Thank you so much.
I love how you are trying to reframe veggies as fun and festive and amazing. And there are bands and there's music. Everybody should come. It'll be fun.
Yep.
Veggies are fantastic, just for the record. So how our virtual meetings work, we do ask that our attendees please stay on mute, especially while we have the presentation and during Q&A at the end. We would love for you to put comments in chat. We do save the chat and share it. In addition, if you do want to raise your hand virtually via Zoom, please do that. We'll keep an eye on chat and make sure your questions get asked. And as I said earlier, Melinda is moderator, so she will call you out or call on you either way to join in and ask lots of questions to our amazing presenter. So Pat May from Propa, please take it away.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Pat May, and this is Propa. We are an app that helps people share houseplants. So my question today is very specific. We are developing shipping products to make it easier, safer, and cheaper for people to ship their plants to each other through our app. And this is going to be a major stream of early revenue. And so we're looking to see whether we should use our box to sell shipping labels, kind of like a razor and blade model, or if we should use shipping labels strictly as just maximizing the amount of revenue we generate off of each customer. And I'll explain what these things are in our next slides. So my story, I'm Pat May. I became a crazy plant person in about 2017, shortly after I purchased a house and realized that I had no idea how to fill it. And so I started looking for furniture, of course, because you have to sit somewhere, but I also started looking for home decor and house plants. And at the time, there's a single plant which is really popular, and I have it still, the Pilea peperomioides. And this is also called the Chinese money plant, which is much easier to say, and you can say it correctly, which I'm not sure I'm saying the Latin phrase completely correctly. But anyway, everyone was looking for it, and it was very difficult for people to find. And I saw people were chopping it up. It's very easy to propagate and root, and then shipping it across the country. And it was very disorganized. And I thought that there was a better way. So I beheaded mine about 2 months ago, and now I have all these separate, they're called pups colloquially, and you can very easily share them. And so Propa is a platform for people to do just that. We are increasing affordability and accessibility to interesting houseplants. And we're based out of Annapolis, Maryland. And so I've already kind of spoken to this. We put dots on map where people can look for the exact species and variation of the plant that they're looking for. You can show off your collection, and you can make like genuine relationships between people through your houseplants. And we think that's pretty powerful. And so, talking to people, I talk to people who are really crazy houseplant people. And it's interesting because, I kind of talk to two people, like people who know and people who don't know, right? And the people who, both people love the plants that they got from somebody else. And so we have our own Melinda who has her night blooming cereus that she got from her mother. And that's an incredibly important plant. And so I also have a Propa user on the left who was going to take care of it for his coworker during COVID, and his coworker passed away. And so like this plant has significance now. And so Propa, we track who gives whom which house plants, and we try to make you really appreciate where these plants came from and see your impact on the world when you share plants. We're trying to increase the connection between people and people and their plants through sharing. So we were founded in 2020 when it was just an idea and started working on it. We launched to beta in early 2021, a very slim minimum viable product. We've been expanding throughout 2021 our capabilities. And then it's time to make money. And so this quarter, we're hoping to launch our shipping solutions, which I'll talk to more specifically. And then we'll kind of the full implementation and plan is to have a consumer to consumer marketplace where people can buy and buy through our app these houseplants. So we are developing the Propa box and shipping labels to ship it. And our vision is that, you know, we have a lot of two-sided transactions. It's not like eBay where you have buyers and sellers. We have traders. And so we want to make revenue off of this transaction. One, by making it really easy to buy shipping labels for what you're shipping, and also to make it really safe. And so these are kind of two product lines which are complementary and build off of each other. And so I'll jump into the Propa box. So this is more than a box, right? This is a stronger box that won't get crushed as it's shipping your plant cuttings. It's got plenty of room so you can put packaging around it and keep them safe. You can also maximize how many plants you're shipping. A lot of our people, when they arrange these trades, they're not just doing a single plant. They're saying, oh, I'm going to add bonus plants. So like they sweeten the deal. These are typically no cash transactions. And so they want to really maximize when they're spending on that shipping label. And so it's going to be plenty big. But also importantly, it's going to have this QR code, which is going to expedite the shipping label process. We're also able to track who's the first purchaser of a shipping label for that individual box. These are unique QR codes. And we want to know like how we should sell these boxes. The boxes will have a margin on them, but should we discount heavily that first shipping label just to get the box into circulation? A big part of this is that they're reusable to help minimize shipping costs and also get our brand in front of more people. And so we want to understand what this price structure is. And then it's too hot right now to winterize our box, but that's a major concern for our people. They put hand warmers inside to keep it nice and warm so that the plants don't die in the winter as they're shipping. And so we'll do a version 2.0 later this year if all things go well. So who are our customer? Crazy plant people, obviously. And this is a much smaller group than all the people who buy houseplants, but a lot of people buy houseplants. And so we want to make it really easy for people who might not be crazy plant people, but ultimately want to buy a houseplant easily, interesting for the person that is a crazy plant person, perhaps. And so making it easy for people to give other people the plants they want is something that we're really interested in. And then ultimately, our focus is on houseplants right now. There's a huge market in gardening and all sorts of other things that are related to plants, but we're trying to build a strong foothold within this niche initially. There's a lot of plant apps. Plant apps are hot. And so there's kind of like three groups of competitors. One are plant care apps. And so this tells you when to water it. This diagnoses like bugs or fungi or other things. We're not that. We have a community that help give really specific recommendations and connect you to other people who can provide this information. But we're not trying to automate that. We're about building genuine connections between people. You also have plant identification apps, which are great, but there's when you get into really specific variations of a species, people tend to trust it less, and it also doesn't grow with the user's expertise. I've gotten really good at identifying plants over the past couple of years, and so I personally don't need that sort of utility as I did 3-4 years ago. And so we believe that Propa grows really well from a novice user who's getting their first cutting to someone who has hundreds, which is a lot of the people on our app. And then there's also plant trading platforms, which there are very few, but they really leave the community aspect last, and they're not making money off of this transaction like we plan to. So back to the challenge question, we have shipping labels, which will have a margin on them, and we can sell with or without a box, but we also have this box that will really incentivize people to use it and make it really easy. So the question is, where do I want the largest margin? Do I want to just boxes in front of as many people as possible? Or do I want people to pay like on boxes and make it really cheap to ship? And so I'm looking for people to give me some insight on how I can best do this to maximize long-term revenue and user growth.
That was a great presentation, Pat. You really nailed it. Quick question while I'm waiting for people to raise their hands. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you would like whoever receives the plant to then pass it forward or play it forward by sending a plant to somebody else with the box they just received?
Yeah, absolutely. So this box is going to make a really great unboxing experience. And this is to build our brand and also for people to get really excited about the plants that they just received. And it doesn't have to be plant cuttings, it can just be anything. And so we are interested in partnering with businesses to make this their box to ship their product in. But ultimately this is gonna be a premium box that like you'll feel bad about throwing away. And also we want to build community through this box. And so the inside lid will have places where you can write messages to the people receiving your plants. And it'll become almost like a chain letter in this box. And you'll see how people are passing along. And that just makes it like easier and more exciting. Like you don't want to be the dead end to that. And so these will become, you know, like in addition to the plants that you're passing on, like this becomes like the legacy of those plants and all the acts of kindness. And we think that's a good opportunity for people to buy the shipping labels through us repetitively as this box gets moved around. And we're also avoiding waste by trying to maximize reuse. Recycling is great, but reuse is better. So
I've got Lisa and then I've got Eddie.
Hey, Pat. I used to garden tons and I had a huge container garden and then I got toddlers. So that hasn't been happening, but I love this. I could totally see my mom getting Propa boxes and sending them off to each of us or sending one box around in a circle. So it seems to me like as long as you can cover your costs on the box, the labels are going to be where you make your income because you're asking people to use the shipping label side of it over and over and over again. So that's where you can have recurring income. And I love the idea that like schools and families could, you know, spike a box and send it across the country the way that kids of my generation sent flat Stanley. That would be a really fun promotion to like make it happen and bring Propa into more households and stuff like that. It's like a living flat Stanley.
thank you. My mother taught second grade for years and years, and they always did flat Stanley. And so I imagine that has some sort of indirect influence, if not direct influence on this product. So thank you. I appreciate that.
We've got Eddie and then we have Ken.
Pat, can you see me behind my plants?
I can, and I saw that fiddle leaf fig behind you when you first logged on.
Okay, so Pat, I get, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking it's all about the box, right? So the money's in the box. And it is a box where you're going to make your money, right? So is there a move, for example, to have people who sell pots or people who sell, so see, I've got a plant here, right? This is 2 orange trees and these are 3 lime trees growing in a pot, which I grew from seeds. So I'm showing you my plants. But is there a move, for example, to get sponsorship or people to buy in who can be part of that community? So the people who sell these pretty pots, should buy into the box. The people who sell the potting soil should buy into the box. The people who sell the fertilizer that I might use to help my cuttings grow would be the ones to buy into the box to pay you to get part of your community. I'm wondering if, I didn't hear the beginning of the presentation, and I'm wondering if that's a path for you as well.
I haven't thought about that necessarily, but I think it's entirely possible. Like right now we've got the single product. I think providing people with like the materials that they need and then shipping it to them in this premium box would be like a way of pulling them in. One of the things that like I've already done with just the app and I plan to do with the box is to reach out to the Etsy sellers and other people as a way of like increasing the perception of quality with their product and like improving that unboxing scenario by giving them this option. And so I definitely see that as a way of like reaching more people. Am I answering your question? Did I get that? Or?
I think you are. I talk a lot, so I don't want to hog time because I'm going to get scolded because I talk too much. But please, I'll send you my contact information. I'd
Yeah,
love to
absolutely.
have another conversation with you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie.
Next, we have Ken, and then we have Jen.
Hi, Pat. So I wanted to lobby for the razor blade model, especially because when somebody reuses the box, there's no income stream for you. So if you're successful in getting people to do what you want them to do with the box is not going to be as deep an income stream. But I'm curious about the value add on the label. I'm not understanding the process well enough to understand the value add on the label that would motivate people to be buying labels repeatedly to participate in the program.
Yeah, so basically we just provide a layer of user experience that makes it really easy and cheaper to buy labels through our box than to do it elsewhere. And so like that's because we'll have the exact dimensions of the box encoded in the label. And so you don't have to worry about that. We go through like third-party shipping labels shipping solutions to get a cheaper price over retail. And so we'll display that like, if you go to USPS at the counter, it's going to be crazy expensive. You should never do that. But with us, like you just tell us if it's under 20 pounds and then you put in the return address. And so just really making it easy to get that label will, I think, encourage people to do that. We're also interested in, and this is further down the line, in doing a verification of contents. And so with that unique QR code, taking a picture, this is what's in your box, and the receiver can see that. And so like really just like building like technology, wrapping it around this box, which is durable, reusable, and really nice to open.
And so you're taking a markup on the shipping?
Yes.
And still beating the post office?
Yeah, it's not hard to beat the post office.
And are you shipping a sticky label to people, or are people printing the label and sticking it on the box?
So they have to print the label. We're interested in putting like sheets of labels that you just pass it forward with people to make it like that much easier to get them to peel and stick. We want to. There are people building businesses around their Etsy stores by chopping up their plants and selling it. And it's time consuming to wrap these plants really well. And like the biggest fear of the Etsy buying plants off of Etsy for both sides, buyers and sellers, is like the shipping process. Is it shipped properly and is it handled properly during shipping? And so we want to make it easy for sellers to put it in their box by shipping, slap a label, go.
Now, Eddie was saying he talks a lot. That's my problem too. If you go to FedEx, FedEx helps to make things reusable by putting a clear plastic envelope on the outside so that you can stick the shipping label in. You can stick the shipping paperwork in. You're not sticking it to the outside, people peeling it off, people putting it in the wrong place on the box. So I share that silly idea as a possible adjunct to your packaging to facilitate the reuse.
I really appreciate that. I haven't thought of that. And paper, if you can use paper and be good, then that's easiest. So we want easy.
It's just something to use on the outside where the shipping information shows through. So that go, I'm done. You got the idea.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
Next, we have Jen, but before that, I just want to insert one thing really quickly. You can build your postage and shipping into the label, and every time somebody needs a new label, they print it and they get a new code. So that it validates it. And Jen, why don't you go ahead right now?
So Pat, I love the community you're building around this. I had a question. Are you patenting, or is it possible to patent your box and the build of it, right? Because I could see, Amazon has their boxes where you can technically reuse them and send them back stuff from your house as you buy. But this idea of boxes that just keep moving around and you can track it, I could see that concept being really interesting for a lot of businesses. So as a separate thought, that would just be a suggestion if you haven't patented already, to potentially look and see if that's even possible.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what could be patented, either with a design patent, which I think would be more likely, or at least trademarked for this like bundle of solutions. And so that's, I haven't spoken to an IP attorney, but I will. Thank you.
I don't see any other hands up right now. Pat, why don't you explain to everybody how the process actually works when they receive the box, and then they have the opportunity to send something out right away because they, pay it forward with the box, and how you're building that?
Yeah, so first of all, minimize the amount of tape required. And so we're using the mailer that has the tabs enclosed. So small piece of tape, you break that open really easily. You don't tear up the box in the process. You open it, it's full color inside. There's all sorts of positive messages on the inside. My fiance does FabFitFun, and they have a custom box each quarter that they ship out. And so it just feels good. You read the message, like you're delighted by the message that the seller sent to you, and you pull out your plants. You take care of them first, obviously. But then you have this box, you can disassemble it if you want to lay it flat. People probably won't do that. But there's a QR code which said, okay, scan me to save on shipping and make it super easy. And so they do that. It brings up the website or our app when you scan it. And then all you have to do is who are you? What's your address and where are you shipping it? And then one other question about weight. And it gives you shipping solutions, and then we'll do the integrated checkout or Stripe or something to make that process really streamlined. And so because we're generating these unique QR codes, which will be attached via sticker on the inside of the box, whatever SKUs we create on the box, that QR code will know it. And so you don't have to bring out a ruler. We're able to give good shipping prices as long as it's under an estimatable amount of weight. And so you're not going to get the absolute best shipping price, but you will get it without a weight. If it's less than 20 pounds or not. And so just this streamlined thing, you don't have to be a shipping expert to do it. You'll need 3 inches of tape to seal it back up. And you can reuse the filling inside of it, hopefully, which initially we're not going to provide any sort of polyfill or any other filling. But everything's there for you if you receive it. And so we think that this will give you a reason to find a plant to move forward if you weren't planning to already.
Next, we have Eddie Lloyd, and then Jen, you put a question into the chat, so why don't you bring that up after Eddie?
Okay, I'm back. I have another question for you.
All right.
So Pat, it seems to me that your money is made on shipping. Is that it? Is that where, so this whole deal, you're making your money on the margin on shipping and you're going to ship for $2, but I'm going to pay $4?
Yes. So that's our early revenue streams. Like the long-term vision, like the box is a platform, it's to get in front of people. And like, you know, we asked our community, we have a lot of buyers and sellers on Etsy, and we said, okay, like there's a premium box that you can ship plants in. How are you going to pass along the cost to the customer? And all the sellers said that they're going to make it an option, which is great. It's like, hey, you can buy this plant or you can add this money if we ship it in like a Propa box. And so this isn't just like, this is early revenue, which is really important, but it's also to drive more people into our platform. And that has kind of like a twofold effect. One, we make it really easy to find other plants that you like to arrange these trades and then like catch the shipping labels on those trades to increase the amount that people are shipping plants, but also like to build a community to then expand into a consumer to consumer marketplace where people will be selling their plants through it and will be earning a commission on that as well. And so in some cases, people are paying $300 for like a little nub of a house plant because it's so rare. And we want to be the place where people can do that and have really high confidence that one, like the plants you're buying, we're taking care of. They're in a healthy environment. They're not going to like spread disease or bugs, and there's high quality products that you'll receive. And so we're just trying to bring more people into our ecosystem so that we can properly expand into like a two-sided marketplace.
I get it. Is Etsy part of, oh, forgive me. I'll talk another time. I
Why don't
see
you put your
that-
hand up again and I'll call on you
Forgive
again.
me,
so we
forgive
can
me.
get to
Thank you,
Jen.
bye.
Jen, you're next, and then I have one quick comment, and then we'll come back to you.
So for people who have never shipped plants before, is there an opportunity? And you mentioned this earlier, so I just wanted to clarify. Can someone buy the filling that goes into the box as well as the box? Because I would certainly pay to make sure I don't screw up if I'm sending someone my plants, because if they stay with me, they'll die. Right? Like, walk me through that sort of pricing piece a little bit.
Yeah, so we don't have immediate plans to sell shipping materials. I think there's plenty of opportunity to do a drop shipping or at least like an affiliate situation on the short term. We do have like a guide on how to ship plant cuttings specifically on our website. But I think it's only like logical to do that. And you know, like you can even sweeten the deals like, okay, yeah, you're buying polyfill that you buy at Joanne or any other like hobby store. But we ship it in a Propa box. And so like you get one of those in the process. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for that. And ultimately it's just like, you know, is it more convenient to buy like polyfill from us or Amazon or Joanne? And I'm not sure the answer would be us.
But I think where I was going with that is if you have a reusable box, maybe you could have reusable filling. So it's just a question of minimizing the footprint of stuff. So just a thought.
Yeah, what we really love to do, and this is like probably for version 2.0 or later, is have like kind of inserts that would secure plants really well. And so like early on, that might just be dividers to keep them still and not tangle together. But then like something to more advanced that would be able to hold like a pot more securely or a root ball more securely, maybe a wax coated cardboard that like retains that humidity and moisture inside the box. And so I think there are a lot of ideas for like making this a more premium and effective and unique product.
So I do think people would be willing to pay for that, by the way. So I do, you asked, your challenge question is, where do you make money? I think you can make money on both. I wouldn't discount one over the other because I could see people wanting to pay more for a specialty box. Sorry, Melinda, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, that's fine. What I wanted to do is just throw another piece out there that Pat and I discussed, and that's that you've got plant swaps going on all over Metro DC and different parts of the country. And that can be one of your vehicles for low-hanging fruit of how you get your labels out and how you get your boxes out there, because these folks are already doing live plant swaps. They probably are interested to get rare plants and find people online to get things they don't have. They already have that interest. And then the other piece of that is with the holiday season coming up, and I say coming up because I come out of consumer products marketing, you start planning for how you're going to get everything out in October, November, December, which is the gift season. There are lots of things that you can start to do to build the awareness to these boxes so people can give the gift part of them from their plants. Maybe I'll take my night blooming cereus apart and start shipping everybody, a piece of that for the holidays. I mean, there are lots of things you can do, but I really think that one of your viable markets and ways to get things out, your low hanging plants, not fruit, are your plant swap meetings that are already in existence, so that you've got some awareness, and these are the people that are going to be able to spread the word and get the word out.
Yeah, we love plant swaps. Those are those are the crazy plant people that we're going after. And they build community. We want to be an app version of a plant swap. And so we've started tracking all the plant swaps we can find on social media on our website, and to let our users know about it. And if they tell us that they're going, we ship them download cards to hand out to everyone that they can.
So what you just said was really interesting, because a lot of companies in the early days of the internet started listing events going on in their areas, and they became a resource in their communities for that kind of information. You could also develop some kind of list that you're publishing on your website, and you can monetize that by getting some of the companies that make the different components that go into the boxes, the peanuts, the plastic with the air in it and other things available on your website. And you also talked about having a website where you will be selling some items as well. So maybe that can all go into your initial how to get the word out.
Yeah, I think that's totally possible.
I'm looking for hands or anybody that, Jen, did you want to finish what you were asking?
I was just curious, can someone buy or use a gift card and give to someone to use Propa? Like, how would that work or start?
That would probably come after we've built the consumer to consumer marketplace. We are working on like a premium feature set that we're using to generate more early revenue, and also to sell shipping labels without a box through the app. And so we'll probably have promotional codes where you can gift a premium subscription as well.
Have you looked at ways to get bulk quantities of, let's say, these boxes out with shipping labels, like let's say a QVC, where you could talk about crazy plant people and how they need something like this, especially with the holidays coming up or whatever it might be, where they can be shipping plants across country or whatever they need to do.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Okay, the question was, I was thinking of another market that you could go after would be like QVC, which is, the infomercial market or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people who, everyone loves flowers, but you can't necessarily ship flowers yourself super effectively, but you can ship houseplants. And so I think there's a way that you could say, hey, this is a box. Maybe it already has all the polyfill inside of it. You just buy a plant at your local nursery, put it in the box, ship it. We've got 2-3 day shipping, it'll survive. And making that super easy. I think that's definitely a way we can expand.
Love it. Eddie, you're next. And then
Okay,
we have
Pat.
John Norse.
Listen, Pat, I'm somebody like Bloomscape, right?
Mhm.
Or even Etsy. I want to be in your box. I want my QR code on your box so that, crazy plant dude who buys a plant, who needs a pot, is, going to buy my pot because my pot is the best pot for your plant cutting. if I'm Bloomscape or Etsy or whoever, right? Wayfair, especially if I'm Wayfair, right? Competitive to Etsy, I'm going to pay you money to put my QR code or put my link on your box. I think you should go after these guys because they want you. They want your box. Nobody else does it. They're prepared to spend money with you right now to get in on your product.
I think so. I think when we develop the brand of the box itself sufficiently, that like not only is it a platform for us to bring people into the Propa app, but also it's a platform for other people, and that space becomes valuable for advertisements and other things, especially with the reusability aspect of it, and encoding like any sort of tracking to where you can trace and track conversion.
Next, we have John Norse.
John's been incredibly helpful.
Shut up, Pat. Okay, so anyway, hey Pat, I love what you're doing. Obviously, we've talked prior to this about what you're doing, but I think, listening to all the comments of people, I think I'm using it to think about me. I have houseplants, and I'm thinking the best thing is that it's like a turnkey, like the suggestions that Eddie made about whether it's shipping peanut, I'm like, I don't want to go to Michael's to buy one thing, Home Depot another, Lowe's. At that point, I'm not shipping the plant. Where if it's like everything's in the box other than literally like add water or like you said, 3 inches of tape. I just believe we're in a society of convenience. Like everybody pays for DoorDash, for Amazon. Like the easier you can make that process, I actually think more plants will get shipped that you'll actually, because people go, oh, you want to ship? I got it. It takes 2 seconds. Oh, I got it. It takes 2 seconds. It's like, in a sense, creating an app. They just go on it and it's done. They don't, so I think the recommendations that everyone's made here towards working towards that simplicity of it is really magic. And anyway, we can help you, man. I love what you're doing. Proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Leslie.
Hi, I'm going to keep my video off playing Mario Kart. But going off of the simplicity idea, is there a way to also schedule pickup from the house? Because I know, especially with a young kid, by the time I get him into the car seat, you have to drag him out of the car seat, get him into the UPS store to drop the box off. I don't want to do it anymore. Is there a way that you can partner with a delivery service that they'll come pick up the box and get it in the mail for you? That would, I think that would up your percentage of actually getting people to mail the box. So it's a hassle for me. I might not be your market.
I think it's certainly possible. I know that USPS will pick things up from your doorstep, and you don't have to schedule that typically. I don't know if we've exceeded a size that prevents them from doing that, and so I'll have to look into that. But yeah, we need to make it easy. Running to the post office can be a hassle. I spent very short periods of time at the post office and very long periods of time at the post office. And so making it easy and predictable is, I think, in everyone's interest. Thank you.
Next, we have Lisa, and then we've got Eddie again.
Hi. So I was listening and also poking around on your website, and I think you've covered a lot of bases there. It's beautifully laid out, it's mobile friendly. I'd love a QR code so I could just get the app without having to go to the app store. And you can brand your QR codes, you can make them green, you can, put your logo into them so that that is also a premium thing. I mean, you have to pay a little to do that, but it might be worth it for you since that's a space where you're trying to make your impact. And then the other thought that came to mind was you mentioned, this is the size of the box. How small a box can you create for one cutting? Mm-hmm. For people like me or my mom, like my mom has an heirloom spider plant that is huge. And of course, we'd all love cuttings, but 3 of us live out of state. So how can she send that one cutting to us? And would it be a book size box? And would that make it even easier for people? So I know that you're you have to be a little hyper focused on keeping costs down, and you're going for a certain target. Like the hobbyist is going to want 12 plants in their box, right? But then there's another set of people who might get into it, who will spread the word and be your evangelists if they can just do 1 or 2 and it's easy. And then
Yeah, no.
finally, yeah, sorry, I got one more and then I'm done
Okay.
because I don't want to be like Eddie.
Eddie
My
was
last
great.
one was, you mentioned wanting in your how to ship, if you're sending it rooted, to wrap it in some kind of moss. I don't know what that is or where to get it. So if you could
Okay.
sell that moss and ship it to me, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, so let's see, the first question. I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
It was
that
the
was
QR
the
code. It was the
just the
QR
QR
code.
codes.
Okay,
I wrote them
second
down.
question.
Melinda's got it all. Second was the book size, was the box sizes.
Book size, yeah. No, I think there's absolutely people who ship like single cuttings. And it's all about like getting a price down enough. And so like we want to encourage sending more plants, because then like not all of them survive shipping for reasons. And so like if that one dies and that's all that you got, and that feels like a loss, that's a negative experience. But 5 out of 6 survive, then like that's a really positive experience. But no, like it's crazy. People love sharing their plants. We have one user who's out in Washington State, and like she just wants to share her plants. She won't let you cover like shipping for you. And so like she wants to pay it. Most people, they cover shipping for the people sending. And it's incredible. And so I think there's absolutely people who do want to ship the single cutting, because like maybe they have one plant that's really important to them, like Melinda's Night Blooming Cereus. And like that's the one that they want to push forward and make sure that like it's always living like throughout the world. And so I think with time, we'll expand into different box sizes, so like both larger and smaller. And then I think the unique encoding on the QR code becomes even more like important, because there's not one standard size anymore, and you don't need a ruler to know exactly what that is.
Right.
So before I have Eddie, I have one thing I want you to comment on, and then after Eddie, Jen, I'd like you to do the last question. Shipping things to different states. I know that like California is kind of weird about letting plants come in. Florida may be weird. How are you handling that? I know you and I talked about it briefly, and there are better ways to ship it. Like UPS may be a little bit different than FedEx, which may be different than sending it through the mail. How do you decide which way to do it? And how do you say, yes, there is something live inside? Because I'm always asked that question at the post office. They want to know what's inside my box.
Yeah. So right now, like one of the reasons why we haven't gone into the consumer to consumer marketplace is that level of compliance that would be required. Like when we start brokering the transaction and money is moving through us, then we do have a lot more clear-cut liability and responsibility to make sure that we're not breaking laws, we're not shipping invasive species into certain environments. That's very important to us. And so fortunately, we've been in a small enough like community where everyone has that mentality that they want to do the right thing. And so I think kind of what tips that is when we start brokering that transaction, that we want to have a very like reasonable and defensible layer of compliance on top to make sure that people aren't breaking the law, destroying environments.
Thank you. Eddie next, and then Jen.
All right, Pat, I got more for you. Check this now. Listen to me. I want to get into the plant movement business, right?
Okay.
So I want everybody to have my orange trees. Your box gets me into that business, right? So this box, a totally typical customer is someone, crazy plant person who, I don't know, I just have all these plants and I want to do something. Your box allows me to turn my crazy plant thing into a business, right? So this is a typical customer. Now, I think 1 or 2 people ago said something about compliance and okay, so I step out of my head and I think, I'm a weed guy growing weed in West Virginia, and I want to send my weed all across the nation. Hey, I need you so I can ship my weed. That becomes an issue, right? So the compliance part, the back taking, helping the crazy plant person take care of the back end part of, can I really ship my spider plant to Arizona so I don't, hit regulatory hurdles, becomes a part of the back end of your company. So maybe I'm not asking a question, but I guess I'm excited. Send me a damn box. I like it. All right.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of opportunity to provide value by like making compliance easy for people. And so like another like thing that I love to do, like, it's not on our roadmap whatsoever, is import. And so like a lot of our users, they have licenses to import. They go through customs. I've gone through customs. That's how I got this plant. Actually, I ordered off of Germany's eBay and then filled out like the forms and had to wait for 2 months, and it survived somehow. But no, I think that provides a lot of value, and especially for businesses, right? When you have like your business that requires that, and you don't want to be shut down, obviously. And so like having like this audit trail and a high level of confidence that you're not doing anything wrong becomes really important. And I think that could be a solution that we sell separately.
Perfect. Jen, you're next. And before that, I'm going to tell a secret. Pat's getting married in 9 days, and he was able to fit us in before that. Jen, you're next.
Congratulations, Pat.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you again for your great presentation. It's very, very exciting. Hopefully you got a lot of good feedback. What else can we as a community do to support you? I know I downloaded the app. I'm starting to learn about all of that, but what else can we do?
Yeah, I think so. We're interested in getting people into our app and showing them like how to find plants. So the app is very good at doing that, and anything that you can do to like help us find more users. So any sort of press is incredibly helpful. Start buying houseplants that you can start propagating, I guess.
So one thought, since we're heading into Earth Day, would be to, potentially consider, can you mark your plants as helping with air in the house, or are they pet friendly? Just give people who don't know a ton about plants more information, because that'll make it easier to buy. So thank you again. Awesome presentation. Good luck with the wedding. Very exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
If we can go to the next slide. So next week we have a familiar face. Krista Delakis will be presenting. She is a past organizer from Breakaway Fitness. So please join us next week and be ready for her challenge question. And it won't be about working out. It'll be about her business. So don't feel stressed if you haven't been doing your New Year's resolutions. I'm more just speaking to myself. We have a lot of weeks open in May. So please reach out and refer people to 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. This is free. We help you prepare. We put a lot of effort in upfront so you can get the most out of this time that you are in this session. So it is easy. It might seem like it's a lot, but we make it very, very easy. Please think of business owners that might be having a challenge question they struggle with. Maybe they don't think this is a good venue, but it actually could be a great one. We talk about marketing, we talk about branding, we talk about production, we talk about staffing. So please do so. If anybody is interested in becoming an organizer, it's a low amount of effort, because the more people we have, the easier it is. So please reach out if you're interested to any of us. We have a lot of events coming up. One that I will call out, as Karen Small shared, is Small Business Week is the first week in May. I will put a link in chat to the Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, so the FCDA. So if anybody you know is interested in starting a business, it's a great opportunity. Or if they have a business, but maybe they don't know if they're following all the rules, come to that. It's a great session. They give you a ton of information. And again, please, if you have events, feel free to drop them in chat as well. So again, thank you for your time. We love seeing everybody every week. We have a variety of different businesses, from plants to working out to you name it. We've seen a lot. So again, thank you for joining us. Do consider joining as a brand ambassador or an organizer, or just come any Wednesday you have free. It's great seeing everybody, and thank you again.